The work that we developed with my co-workers, Sandra Díaz in Argentina and Mark Westoby since the mid-1990s, has allowed us to gain understanding of how the characteristics of plants in ecosystems influence important functions like food production and, for example, climate regulation. So take food production. A large proportion of the crops of the world are pollinated by insects, and the traits of their flowers, of these plants, determine which insects will be able to pollinate them, which will ultimately influence the production of these crops. In the case of carbon, we have discovered how the traits that determine how fast plants will grow, how quickly they recycle nutrients, influence their ability to sequester carbon in their material as wood, for example, and in soils through their roots. So with the trait approaches that we developed and the large databases that we were able to accumulate and share with other scientists to parameterize models and develop multiple applications around the world, we've been able to show that you can actually demonstrate, we've been able to demonstrate links between the effects of climate change, say for instance increasing drought, on the plants that are present and impacts on these functions, for example food production and carbon sequestration, which I was just citing. So for example, in the case of increasing drought, that will favor plants with slower growth and much slower cycling of nutrients in ecosystems, and this will impact on the whole functioning of the ecosystem with slower carbon accumulation in for example, the above ground part of vegetation, and a longer time to decompose the organic matter that is in soil. Some have likened the loss of biodiversity to the loss of the library of life, and most of that library may not even be known yet. We know from our research and that of other scientists around the world that by losing biodiversity, we lose our potential for responding and adapting to climate change. Yet biodiversity is somewhat more hopeful than climate. While with climate, every molecule of carbon and carbon dioxide that is accumulated in the atmosphere will remain there for a while, and it is absolutely urgent to stop pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. With biodiversity, the diversity of different forms of life and, for example, the diversity of different plants that we have in ecosystems allows us to have some redundancy and some capability for recovery. Nevertheless, we all know now that it's absolutely urgent that we reverse the current trend unless we sink the boat that is our current Noah's Ark.